So the Chunin Exams is one of the most exciting parts of Naruto and probably one of the best arcs in all of anime when it comes down to just overall incitement and just crazy fights. But today we're going to be figuring out who was the strongest in the Chunin Exams. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe if you're liking the video, and go watch my other content, because if you like this video, you most likely like all my other ones. And please, just a disclaimer, everything that I say is an opinion based, backed by the facts that I gathered from the show. Please, I hope that you allow yourself to hear what I'm saying and not just go off for your favorite characters. But that being said, I'll try my best to not be biased on any characters that I may like. Other than that, let's get into it. So at the bottom of the barrel, we have Ino and Sakura. Now, I'm pretty sure that we could always say that these two were the weakest in the Chunin Exams. They literally both had no skills. You could arguably give Ino the edge when it comes to ninjutsu, but at the end of the day, her ninjutsu, like Shikamaru said in the Chunin Exams, is more of a backup type of technique, and it makes sense that it would be, because if the user gets out of her body and goes to the different user, then the body's pretty much vulnerable, and if you kill that body, even though the soul is in a different body, she's still vulnerable to being killed. And Sakura actually probably being more smarter than her and more skilled in a way, given that she had more knowledge and more overall chakra control, but still lacking battle experience and battle prowess. So it made up for the things she was lacking when it comes to ninjutsu. But at the end of the day, they tied, so I'm pretty safe to say they putting them at the bottom is okay. Now the next one is going to be Tenten. Now the only reason why she's not ahead of the next person, just let me explain, is because in the manga she literally got no diff. Like, there's no fight to scale for her in the Chunin Exams in the manga, and in the anime it was a little fight with her and Tamari, but it was still pretty much a no diff. She literally couldn't do anything, so it's safe to say we can put her after Sakura and Ino. We can give her at least that respect, but putting her against the next person would kind of be a little controversial. So the next one up is going to be Choji. Now I feel like that Choji definitely takes Tenten here, and obviously this doesn't apply, but we see more of Choji in the Sasuke retrieval arc, and we just see that he actually has some type of capabilities of being a really helpful member on the team. And then not only that, Tenten's only basis of attack is weapons. If Choji's in the human boulder form, then none of the weapons will be able to break through either way, and I feel like Choji will be able to get her. So next one up, we have Hinata. Now I'm pretty sure everybody could agree with me that up until this point, Hinata could beat everybody on this list. We already know that she was able to go toe to toe with a holding back Neji, but that's still a great feat, because we know how insane Neji was, and Hinata is no slouch in her own right. If Hinata ends up touching anybody's chakra points on this list so far, they're pretty much done, and there's nothing they can do. Not to mention her Byakugan, and it'll literally stop her from getting hit from all the weapons by Tenten, and Ino nor Sakura will be able to touch her. The only real threat she may actually have is Choji, and I do believe that she'll be able to evade Choji's human motor jutsu, and it just takes one casual strike and Choji's down for the count. So next one up, I got Dosu. Now the thing about Dosu, his ability really carries him for the people before him. Everybody before him is usually a close range fighter, and with his ability you don't necessarily need to touch people to actually weaken them, and we saw even Rock Lee got dropped to his knees from the ability. So I do believe that he would be able to beat everybody before this, but we do know that if you're fast enough, you most likely could be able to evade it, and we saw him pretty much get no diff by Gaara as well. So I do believe that he would be able to neg everybody on the list before him. Just people after him, I don't believe he would, just off a lack of feats. So the next one up is we have Kiba, and he's actually kind of a little tricky in the Chunin Exams, because in the Naruto fight, we can tell from the majority of the fight, Kiba was winning, but Naruto ended up getting the upper hand and was actually using more IQ than power against Kiba. So that lets me to believe that Kiba may have a little bit of power in the Chunin Exams, but when it comes to just overall IQ and when it comes to overall battle strategy, is some people ahead of him that will actually be able to take the cake, because that's a lot what we see in the Chunin Exams, being smart and actually using the mindset of a Chunin. That's what it's literally for. And not only that, the Naruto that beat Kiba, well, everybody later in the Chunin Exams mostly scales higher than that Naruto, so I just think that it's safe to say that this was where he would be. So the next one up is we're gonna have Tamari. Now I feel like this is a good spot for Tamari. The thing about Tamari is that she's a long range fighter, and not only that, with the long range, she's actually a battle strategist just like Shikamaru was. And the thing is, everybody before this list is more of a close range fight, but if they can't get in to be able to attack because of the wind fan, then Tamari pretty much takes the dub. Not only can she deflect any attacks that come from kunais or anything with the wind fan, but she can always keep her enemy far from her while she uses the wind fan and just just make a strategy to be able to beat them. And I feel like she outsmarts pretty much everybody on this list so far. So I think 10-10 spot here is good for her. So next one up is we have Shikamaru. I think this is a pretty good spot for him. Now, in an analytical sense and intelligence sense, he's obviously first on the list. I would think so, given that he was the only one promoted to a Chunin, and it's Shikamaru. He has probably some of the best battle strategies in the show. But when it comes to overall power set and actually going against heavy hitters, I do think that he wouldn't be able to stand up with them no matter how much smart you are. If you don't have the speed to be able to keep up, I just don't think. Now, arguably, he could figure something out, but we just really don't know. But from what we saw, he did struggle with Tamari a little bit, but he did also be able to outsmart her. But like I say, the shadow can be avoided, and if you avoid it, then you pretty much are good. And if you can get speed blitz, I feel like that the shadow is no void. But at the same time, Shikamaru could work his way up through the list if he was able to plan strategies based on who he's fighting, but that's too many here and there's. I just want to be as cut dry as possible. Shikamaru, from a power standpoint, can't really keep up with the people after him at this point in the series. Now, the next one up, we have Kankuro and Shino. It'll be kind of hard to be able to put one above the other. We do know that they were both pretty much relative. You could say Shino had the edge in some points in the fight. You could say Kankuro had some points in the edge of the fight, but like I said, I'm trying to be as cut dry as possible, so I feel like it'll be easier to put both of them in the same ranking. We know that Shino, when it comes over outsmarting, just having backup plans in the Chunin Exams, that's literally what he was doing. But also with Kankuro, we know that Kankuro's abilities is more of a long range ability, but against the fight with Shino, yeah, she was able to prove to be able to hold his own against Shino. It was more of an even like a battle, so I don't really have a definitive person to take the spot. I could just say they're both relative and just put them both in the same spot, kind of like Ino and Sakura, because at the end of the day, we really didn't get to see who really won because Shino ended up getting poisoned, Kankuro ended up getting caught with bugs, so they're both in the same spot. So the next one up, we have Sasuke, bro. Now hear me out. We're going over the whole Chunin Exams and not different sections. Please let me explain. So we see Sasuke after getting training from Kakashi. He came back with speed pretty much almost just the same as Lee, but that was only Lee's speed with his weight remove. Remember, Sasuke's speed will not compare to a 5th gate Lee, and we have to understand that we're going off of everybody's prime in the Chunin Exam. Now the Chidori might be the only thing helping Sasuke when it comes to fighting anybody else after this list, but just they all outscale him. With the 5th gates, Lee was not only able to have way more power, but his taijutsu also skyrocketed as well. We do know that him using the 5th gate would almost be like basically a double-edged sword, because after that he's pretty much done. And we know that even Neji was worried about the gates, because when Lee broke the gates out, even Neji was like, when did you discover this? And we know that Lee, before even taking off the weights, was able to do an Sasuke before the training. And even Lee sat there and said, though, even though you may have the Sharingan, just because you have that doesn't mean that your body can react to the speeds that I'm moving in. The 5th gate with the weights off is even worse. Now yes, Sasuke will be faster, but not faster than 5th gate Lee. And not only that, the attacks that Lee will be breaking would just be too powerful, because we know that the only reason why Gaara was able to withstand those was because of the sand armor. Sasuke gets beat by 5th gate Lee. The only thing that's so inconsistent to me is how a Sasuke in base without no gates was almost willing to make Gaara transform, but 5th gate Lee with punches wasn't able to break the sand armor. If you wink it, Sasuke's fist could be equal to a 5th gate Lee's when it comes to punching power, but that just would be insanely inconsistent because it wouldn't make sense at all. And there's something to support why it was so much easier to make Gaara go into transforming instead of relying on the sand armor and the sand shield, is because we understand that not only is it a big chakra consumer, but it also takes crazy amount of concentration, because that's actually something that Gaara is doing. It's not just the will of his sand guard, but it actually has him focus on doing the sand armor. So I would say that most likely Gaara was willing to not focus on that and just try to transform against Sasuke and go for the kill. Either way, like I said earlier in the video, I'm not trying to do here, there, more try to be cut dry. So scaling based off of what we see in the show at this point, 5th gate Lee outscales the Sasuke there when it gets Gaara. The next one up is we have Neji. Now this is probably one of the most hardest parts of the video, because all these characters power scaling fluctuated through the point of the Chunin Exams, but I safe to say that this is a good spot for Neji. If you want to go in more in depth of why I think Neji is above Sasuke, I just made a Neji versus Sasuke video. If you want to check that out, it'll be at the top right of the screen if you want to hear all the points and the reason why I think that Neji outscales Sasuke at this point. But with that being said, I do believe that Neji outscales Sasuke but isn't stronger than 5th gate Lee. Let me explain why. So we see in the series when Naruto and Neji fight, Naruto literally went from being able to not do anything to Neji to pretty much stalemate him when it comes to speed and overall power. But we also do see that Naruto Naruto was almost able to beat Neji from doing the rotation, but Neji got it off just in time. That shows that we also can see that Naruto was almost approaching surpassing the speed of the rotation. The only problem is because we know that amp that Naruto get could possibly be weaker than what he was when he fought Gaara, but we know that when he fought Gaara, and the beginning of it at least, he used just his base chakra. So you could say that these forms are relative, because we know that the Nine Tails chakra is more potent and more powerful than his base chakra, but at the same time, this was also potentially a weaker Naruto that went against Gaara, because this was also after his fight and having his regular chakra points blocked as well. And this Naruto was able to go against a stronger version of the Gaara that Lee and Sasuke fought, and actually be able to keep up with him and force Gaara to completely transform. And we know that this Gaara is faster than the Gaara that was fighting Lee and Sasuke, because Sasuke even said in the manga, if it wasn't for his Sharingan, he would have been gone a long time ago. And this Naruto was able to contest and actually force Gaara to transform. So we could very much say that Neji scales to this Naruto, but Naruto beat him with the QB amp, and we arguably know that the Naruto that fought Gaara after the Chunin exams during in the forest could be stronger or equal to this QB amp. So it's safe to say that Neji doesn't outscale Naruto, but outscale Sasuke. So next one up, we finally have Lee here. Now the only reason why Lee isn't higher is because he just doesn't have the feats to back it up. We see what he was able to do against the regular Gaara without the transformation, but like I said previously, the Gaara that fights Naruto is a stronger version and faster version than the Gaara that Lee was fighting. And we also can see that, like I said, also Sasuke was barely able to keep up with his movements, and the only reason why he was because of the Sharingan. That shows that the speed that he just got done training with was no match for that Gaara. You could say that the speed that Gaara had could be comparable to the Lee in Gates, because we know that the same outcome that Sasuke was doing to Gaara, Lee was also doing to Gaara with his weights removed. And also that we know that this actual version of Gaara is also more durable, and the Lee was barely able to break the armor on a Gaara with no Shikaku transformation phases. But you could say that it would be even more harder for Lee to inflict damage on a more durable and stronger Gaara. So like I say, Gaara outscales everybody before him, but he just doesn't be able to scale to Gaara. The next one up is obviously going to be Gaara. I feel like it's comfortable to say that Gaara outscales everybody before. We see that a newly freshly trained Sasuke used 2 Shidoris on him, and it still wasn't able to damage him. Not only that, we also see that Sasuke wasn't able to keep up with him in speed, nor was he able to do any damage to him, because the durability had also increased as well. And of course, if Gaara ends up completely transforming, the fight's pretty much over with everybody before this list, because nobody would have a summoning nor a big enough jutsu to be able to handle a fully transformed Gaara. So no brainer, Gaara is number 2. The number 1 spot is going to be Naruto Uzumaki. Now before the Gaara fight, you could actually get him behind Sasuke, or potentially behind 5th Gate Lee as well, but with the Gaara fight, we just see a new power of Naruto. With that power, he was also able to contest a Gaara that was moving faster than Sasuke, and even Sasuke verbatim, I said it before, could barely keep up with. If it wasn't for his Sharingan, he would have been lost the fight. And this Naruto, and just with his base chakra, was able to not only damage this Gaara, and might I add, a 5th Gate Lee was not able to damage a Gaara with just the sand armor, but this Naruto with all his clones was able to damage a more durable and stronger and faster version of Gaara. Not only that, he went on to summon Gamabunta, and also was able to cast a Gaara, and then also was able to summon more Kurama Chakra, and actually able to beat Gaara. And we also see in the fight with Neji that he summoned Kurama's Chakra, and he even said that this is more powerful than he felt before in the training with Jiraiya. In that training, he was also able to summon Gamabunta with that version of the Kurama Chakra that he summoned, and he summoned even more Chakra in the fight with Neji. So it's potential that if he was able to tap into the Nine Tails Fox Chakra versus any other fight with Lee, Neji, or Sasuke, he could summon Gamabunta, and it's wraps. Just want to also say again, this was the whole entire Chunin exam, so not just the first, second, and third round, but the entire arc in entirety. Of course, it was most likely just the matches and the rounds that we saw. Then Naruto will be a little bit lower, probably behind Sasuke or behind 5th Gate Lee. But since we saw the power that Naruto displayed, I do believe that he outscales pretty much everybody, because I mean, he beat Gaara, and Gaara beat Sasuke, and Naruto also beat Neji, and 5th Gate Lee could not be able to contest a Gaara that was weaker than the Gaara that Naruto beat. So when you go down that line, I do believe that this makes sense. But again, this is my opinion from the facts that I got in the show. If you have a different view on it, please comment down below. If you disagree completely and I just did something completely horrible that you just watched, also comment down below and let me know. And either way, I love feedback. It helps me improve and just to help me see it from different angles. With that being being said, I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you subscribe down below. Make sure you go watch my other content. At you guys. Love you.